From the outside, chocolate might look simple. A glossy bar, a truffle, or a creamy cup of hot cocoa seems like something that just magically appears on store shelves. But behind every piece of chocolate is a long, intricate process that begins thousands of miles away in tropical farms where cocoa trees grow. The journey from cocoa beans to chocolate is one of patience, science, and artistry, a combination of ancient tradition and modern innovation. Stepping inside a chocolate factory reveals how raw beans harvested from pods become the sweet treats we know and love. The story begins in tropical regions close to the equator, where cocoa trees thrive in warm, humid climates. These trees bear football-shaped pods that contain the seeds of chocolate. Inside each pod are about 30 to 50 cocoa beans surrounded by a sweet white pulp. Farmers carefully harvest the pods by hand, often using machetes to cut them from the trees. Each pod is split open, and the beans are scooped out along with the pulp. This is the very first step, and while it might seem small, it sets the stage for everything that follows. Freshly harvested cocoa beans do not taste like chocolate at all. In fact, they are bitter and raw, with little resemblance to the smooth, rich flavor associated with chocolate. To unlock their potential, farmers begin the critical step of fermentation. The beans, still coated in pulp, are piled into wooden boxes or covered with banana leaves and left to ferment for several days. During this time, natural yeasts and bacteria break down the pulp, generating heat that can reach up to 50 degrees Celsius. This heat and microbial activity trigger chemical changes inside the beans, reducing bitterness and developing the precursors of chocolate's complex flavor. Without fermentation, chocolate would taste flat and harsh, lacking the depth that makes it irresistible. After fermentation, the beans must be dried to preserve them and prepare them for transport. Farmers spread the beans out under the sun, turning them regularly to ensure even drying. This process can take up to a week, and it reduces the beans' moisture content to a level safe for storage and shipping. Dried beans take on a deep brown color, hard texture, and slightly earthy aroma. At this stage, the beans are bagged and sent to chocolate factories around the world, where the transformation into chocolate begins in earnest. When the beans arrive at a factory, the first task is cleaning. Since the beans have traveled long distances, they may contain bits of twigs, stones, or dust. Industrial cleaning machines remove these impurities to ensure only pure cocoa beans enter the production line. Once cleaned, the beans are roasted. Roasting is one of the most important steps in chocolate making because it intensifies the flavor. Depending on the desired end product, roasting temperatures and times vary. Some beans are roasted at high heat for a short period, creating bold and strong flavors, while others are roasted slowly at lower temperatures to bring out delicate notes. Just like coffee, the roast determines much of the character of the final chocolate. After roasting, the beans must be cracked and winnowed. This means breaking them open to separate the edible nibs from the outer shell. The nibs are the heart of the cocoa bean and contain the cocoa solids and cocoa butter that form the foundation of chocolate. Machines crack the beans into small pieces, and a stream of air blows away the lighter shells, leaving behind pure cocoa nibs. These nibs already smell intensely of chocolate, but they are still gritty and dry, not yet the smooth confection we crave. The next step is grinding. The nibs are ground into a thick, liquid paste known as cocoa liquor or cocoa mass. Grinding releases the natural fat within the nibs, called cocoa butter, which mixes with the cocoa solids to create a fluid consistency. The paste is then pressed to separate cocoa butter from cocoa powder, depending on what the manufacturer needs. Cocoa powder is used for baking and hot drinks, while cocoa butter is essential in making smooth, glossy chocolate. High-quality chocolate relies heavily on the perfect balance of these two ingredients. To make chocolate, the cocoa liquor is blended with additional cocoa butter and sugar. Milk chocolate also includes milk powder. Factories carefully control the ratios of these ingredients to create the signature taste of each chocolate bar. But simply mixing them together is not enough. To reach the silky, melt-in-your-mouth texture, the mixture must undergo a refining process. Refining involves passing the chocolate mixture through a series of steel rollers that grind the particles down to a microscopic size. This refinement eliminates any grainy texture, leaving behind an ultra-smooth base. The mixture is then ready for one of the most fascinating processes in chocolate production: conching. Conching, named after the shell-shaped machines invented by a Swiss chocolatier, is a process of kneading and aerating the chocolate for hours, sometimes even days. The conched slowly stirs the mixture while applying heat, which further develops flavor, evaporates unwanted acids, and gives chocolate its velvety mouthfeel. The longer the conching, the smoother and more refined the chocolate becomes. Premium chocolates are often conched for over 48 hours, while mass-market varieties may undergo shorter times. This stage represents the artistry of chocolate making, where patience and precision create a luxurious final product. Once conching is complete, the chocolate is tempered. Tempering is a delicate process of heating and cooling chocolate to stabilize the cocoa butter crystals. Proper tempering ensures that chocolate sets with a shiny finish, a crisp snap, and resistance to melting at room temperature. Without tempering, chocolate would look dull, develop white streaks called bloom, and have a crumbly texture. In factories, tempering machines carefully control the temperature cycle to guarantee consistency, while artisanal chocolatiers often temper chocolate by hand using marble slabs. The mastery of tempering is what separates professional chocolate from homemade imitations. Now tempered and ready, the chocolate is poured into molds or used as coatings and fillings. Liquid chocolate flows into bar molds, praline shells, or truffle casings depending on the product line. The molds are vibrated to remove air bubbles, ensuring smooth surfaces. Once cooled and solidified, the chocolate is released from the molds, wrapped in packaging, and prepared for shipment. At this stage, the transformation is complete, from a tropical seed to a finished treat. Inside the factory, the process is highly mechanized and efficient, but every step, from fermentation on the farm to tempering in the factory, is essential to producing chocolate that delights millions worldwide. The balance of science and artistry is evident in the smallest details, whether it's the way beans are roasted or how long the mixture is conched. Each decision shapes the final flavor, texture, and appearance of the chocolate. When you break a piece of chocolate and hear that satisfying snap, you are not just enjoying a sweet indulgence. You are experiencing the culmination of a complex journey spanning continents, cultures, and centuries of refinement. A simple bean, bitter and raw, becomes a symbol of comfort, luxury, and joy. The next time you savor a bite of chocolate, remember the hidden artistry behind it. Inside the factory process lies the secret alchemy that turns cocoa beans into the world's most beloved treat.